So today is definitely content creation day, and I want to talk about my experience with the Fuji XT1 so far. I've called this camera the camera for collector, and it's for a reason. And the very simple reason is that this camera is no longer produced, and it's kind of becoming very hard to come by. And with all Fuji, it looks like the older they get, the harder they become to come by. Today, I'm not going to say that I'm going to do an in-depth review of the camera, because it's never really my style to do in-depth reviews of cameras. I generally would like to give you my experience of using this camera. And first of all, I have it on my hand right here. As you can see, this is my Fuji XT1. And I've exclusively used this Fuji with this rise spray lens. I've made, I wouldn't say a review about it, I've used this lens on my channel. This is a very interesting combo for me. It's a 25mm f1.8 lens, and it's all manual. So I shoot this Fuji generally, or in most cases, I always shoot it manual, because this lens never really leaves this camera. And this is my walkabouts camera, and I just take it, put it in my bag, or put it in my pocket. It's very small. It's kind of a replacement for the not really a replacement for the Fuji X100V, because I have never been able to get one, and they're always so hard to come by. But it's not a super user camera, because I'll give you the cons and the pros, or maybe I'll start with the pros of this camera. It's very small. It's made in Japan, so the body is really good. It's very sturdy. The plastic on this camera feels like one of the best plastic possible. I don't know if it's plastic or metal, but either way, it feels really strong. Yeah, some of the cons is that the rubber bands the rubber on the camera tends to, I don't know, inflate or anything like that, so they just expand, and sometimes they don't come back to shape. Like the one I have here on this side, you can see my rubber kind of expanded. Yeah, I don't kind of really care about it. I've put glue here, but it's not working much. Might have to put super glue there. Kind of scary, but yeah, I think that will be the last solution. And it's a very strong camera. It feels very sturdy. It gets sticky on the ends. That's also really a con. Another con is that it's very slow. It's old. It's a very old camera. It came out at 2011, if I'm not wrong. The video capability are pretty much non-existent, but it does video. It does 1080p up to 60 frame. I've actually never shot this camera on videos. I can show you bits and pieces, but yeah, you wouldn't really use this camera for its video capability. But the colors are good. That is one thing that this camera is very, very well known for. The colors on these Fujis are really good, and you can get pretty decent video, I'm not gonna lie. This is one video that I'm shooting with it, and it doesn't look too bad. Would I personally use it as a video camera? I do not think so, because just because I have better camera that do video, and I don't like the fact that it does have a dedicated record button here, but it doesn't really have like a video mode where you can change this and that. It doesn't shoot f-log like my Fuji XT2, and let's say it doesn't even shoot 4K as well, and I barely shoot 4K. I'm shooting 4K on this one, but generally I shoot 1080 and I upraise it to 4K. But for the pros is the color. It's a really, really good camera in terms of the colors. The colors are, would I say filmic? That's overreach, because I also, one thing, I also don't shoot this camera JPEG only. I shoot raw JPEG because I do like editing my photos, I mean. There is nothing wrong with that. It's very customizable. For the time the camera came out, it's much more customizable than my Canon 800D, which came, I think, a year or two later after this. So generally, for all of those cons and pros that you can take away for yourself, but it's a good, really good collector's camera, to be honest. It's a good thing that you have on your bag. I don't think I'll ever sell this camera, because first of all, they're getting very hard to come by, and they're getting pricier. I don't know, with Fuji, the older they get, the pricier. It's like fine wine. The older they get, the pricier they become, and the rarest they become to get. Granted, it's no longer manufactured. That makes a lot more sense in that regard. But yeah, this is kind of I wouldn't say holy grail of camera, but nice starting in terms of Fuji cameras. And This with my XT2, I think those are the two cameras that I'll keep and probably never sell. I'm planning to get the XS20, as I said, so I'll get the XS20, which will be like my YouTube videos and even for some of the client work, because I do use my XT2 for video, but it's not very flexible. It's not very run and gun. I can't really just put it on the stick and start. I have to think twice about it because the autofocus is not good. It doesn't have it. I've never used the autofocus on this camera, so I wouldn't say that the autofocus is bad. I've never used it for video, as I said. So for photo, it works fine. If you put a nice Fuji lens, for photo, it works fine. For video, I've never actually tested this camera on video. It doesn't have a microphone input. It does have a microphone input, but it's one of those tiny one for which you need an adapter. And I don't know why Fuji does that. Did that with this camera. It has a mini HDMI. It's not the macro. I don't know why the XT2 has a macro HDMI and the XT1 has a mini HDMI. I always get baffled by that. Same thing with Canon. My 800D has a mini HDMI, but the EOS R has a macro HDMI and the R5 has a macro HDMI. So I don't know, like the older the camera, the bigger the HDMI ports doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's about it, about this camera. And the dial, Fuji with the manual dial or everything, all the dials are manual. It has like a button where it does the cycle and then it stops. You have to press it again when you have to go back to like a thing. So it's only the ISO dial that is completely locked. That's one thing as well. But yeah, generally it's a very good walkabout camera. Just to be honest, it's not something that I would take for a professional shoot, but I would snip in 1 or 2 photos from this camera, especially the black and white from this camera. Looks very good. I could sneak in 1 or 2 photos from this camera for like a client session without really creating a fuss, because they look beautiful. The most important sometimes thing is for client just to be happy with the results, and this does give you really good results. It's more of a passion camera than really like a walk around camera, walk host camera. But it's still a Fuji, by the way. Fuji does really good cameras, and I can't fault this one. I've had it for over now 3 months or so, and yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot. I've been enjoying it a lot. Yeah, so that's just what I wanted to tell you guys about an update with my Fuji XT1. I'll see you guys in the next video, and peace out.